Rob G, something happened in the NBA with LeBron last night that changed the course of NBA history.
That's right. By him not playing, which we talked about, he will now see his All-NBA consecutive streak end at 21 years. That's right. For the first time in over 21 seasons, LeBron James will not, NOT, be a part of the All-NBA team at the end of the season.
LeBron James just missed his 18th game of the season, which officially ends his 21-year streak of making All-NBA teams. And honestly, it's about time. But here's the problem. The 65-game minimum rule that's finally catching LeBron is also about to screw over Luka Dončić, Nikola Jokić, and Victor Wembanyama, who are all dealing with actual injuries while still being top 15 players in the league. The NBA created this rule because writers kept voting LeBron onto All-NBA despite missing 30 games, and now the fix is worse than the original problem. Before we get into this mess, drop a comment and tell me, do you think the 65-game rule is fair, or should all NBA selections be evaluated case by case based on actual performance and circumstances?
It's interesting that we would talk about LeBron because LeBron, of course, is the king and the biggest name here in sports, in the NBA at least. However, he's not the only player who is either eliminated from consideration or on the verge of being eliminated from consideration. Here's the list, guys. You got LeBron, number one. He's out. Giannis, he's not considered anymore as well. Steph Curry, 2 games away. Wemby, 3 games away. Kawhi Leonard, 4 games away. Luka, 4 games away. Anthony Edwards, 7 games away. That's not including Nikola Jokić, who's right there as well, had he not come back a couple of games ago.
All right, so LeBron James's streak of 21 years consecutively making an All-NBA team selection is officially coming to an end this season. Last night, he missed his 18th game while his Lakers got absolutely destroyed by the San Antonio Spurs 136-108. Not quite 30 points, but close enough. They got hammered. Victor Wembanyama dropped 40 points in only 26 minutes, which is absolutely ridiculous efficiency.
We start this after party in the association, and with no Luka or LeBron, shorthanded wasn't a strong enough word to describe the Lakers going into their run with Wemby and the Spurs, because he came out like, ladies and gentlemen, please, would you bring your attention to me? Little Euro step to the finger roll, and then Wemby, Rookie of the year, working that post game. Come on.
Also missing that game was Luka Dončić, which was his 11th game missed this season. That puts him in serious danger of being ineligible for all NBA team designation and league awards like MVP. And this is all because the NBA felt like it had no choice but to implement a 65-game requirement to be eligible for these awards. Why? Because the 2022-23 season was such an unmitigated disaster that the 2023 All-NBA teams became a complete farce, a spectacle, an absolute joke.
Yeah, here's the question, fellas. Now that we've seen this 65-game rule in action, and a lot of the best players are not going to be eligible for All-NBA, can we finally admit that it's a dumb idea and it's got to go?
That 65-game requirement started in the 2023-24 season because of the aftermath of what happened in 2023. And in case you don't remember, let me take you on a stroll down memory lane. That was the year LeBron James made All-NBA despite playing in just 55 games. Steph Curry also made All-NBA despite playing only 56 games. Damian Lillard made it with just 58 games played. That's 3 of the 15 players on those All-NBA teams playing in the 50-something range of games, which is absolutely ludicrous. In fact, that season, only 4 of the 15 guys designated All-NBA played more than 60 games. Clearly, NBA players were load managing their asses off and still somehow being rewarded with All-NBA designations. And that was hurting more deserving guys who were actually playing.
There's no way Anthony Edwards should not be starting in the West. A career year, damn near averaging 30, shooting 50 from the field, shooting 40 from the 3. So if you asking me who I gotta remove, it's Steph Curry.
Steph is the only superstar on the whole rosters.
Bro.
Superstar. Are you joking?
Bro, I didn't give you feelings just now. I gave you facts. Ooh. If we're going on this year, Ant is more deserving than Steph to be in the All-Star game.
Steph Curry is Steph Curry, brother. You can't.
Okay, we going. Then LeBron James is LeBron James.
LeBron James is 47 years old, brother.
It don't even matter. It don't even matter.
He's practicing his golf shot more than he's shooting.
The most prominent example, in my opinion, was Anthony Edwards, who did not make an All-NBA team that year, despite playing 79 games and averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. This was while the Minnesota Timberwolves had traded away D'Angelo Russell at the deadline, and Mike Conley only played 24 games. Their other perennial All-Star, Karl Anthony Towns, only played 29 games. Yet Ant-Man dragged the Timberwolves into the playoffs. And not just that, they won only 1 game fewer than the Lakers and only 2 games fewer than the Warriors. But Steph and LeBron both made All-NBA over Ant-Man, despite playing over 20 games less than him. That is a clear-cut example of a guy who is far more deserving because those other two missed nearly 30 games.
Before the game, J.J. Redick spoke to reporters, and they asked him about the 65-game rule and LeBron's streak being over, and he said that the games played threshold should be used more as a suggestion to voters rather than a hard and fast rule, adding, quote, "I think it's fine to have some sort of guidance for voters, not necessarily having a hard and fast rule."
So yes, there does need to be a line drawn somewhere, but the line that's being drawn should be able to be properly applied by the writers who are voting on this. And that's the real problem here. The players are doing what they're doing. They're load managing. They're getting away with it. But they were only getting away with it because the writers voting are fools. LeBron James made All-NBA for 3 straight years while missing nearly 30 games each season. The problem wasn't LeBron load managing or skipping games. The problem was the writers rewarding him and voting for him anyway. So then the NBA has to enact this blanket 65-game minimum rule, which is now targeting and hurting the wrong players.
But there's a reason, Rob, that it was implemented, because you had to have something where we're going to get the best players playing for the vast majority of the games. Nobody expects you to play 82, not even really 72, but you can't give me 66. Then why should I be considering you for an award if you're missing, a third of the game?
And yes, I'm talking about 3 players in particular. First, Luka Dončić, who I mentioned earlier, has missed 11 games. He can only miss 6 more games or he'll be ineligible. They're in striking distance of the 3 seed, just 1 game out. That's all thanks to Luka, who's leading the league in scoring.
Always bad news for the Lakers, and Luka frustrated, obviously, with his team of trainers following him back in. This is where we think it happens, too. In fact, we know it happened right here.
So if Luka is going to be first-team All-NBA if he only misses 16 or 17 games, guess what? If he misses an 18th or 19th game, he should still make some All-NBA designation. If you want to penalize him for missing more games and other guys played more, fine. Take him from first team down to second team, but he should still be recognized. Another obvious player is Nikola Jokić. This guy is breaking all-time NBA records this year. He's leading the NBA in player efficiency rating, box plus minus, and value over replacement player. Not just leading, but he's on pace to break his own all-time single-season NBA records in all 3 of those categories. He's also leading the NBA in win shares per 48 minutes. And get this, he's currently leading the NBA in both assists and rebounds. Nobody has ever done that in NBA history. Lead the league in both assists and rebounds in the same season. If he plays 65 games this season, he's going to finish second in MVP voting and make first team All-NBA. And that shouldn't change if he somehow misses an 18th game. This has to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. It has to be interpretive. You have to look at it and say, if Nikola Jokić misses 17 or 18 games, is he still one of the top 15 players on Earth? Yes, absolutely he is. Now look, there should be consequences. Jokić was steamrolling toward his 4th MVP this year. I think he's deserved the last 5 MVPs, honestly. But this season, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander missing only 5 games and Jokić missing 16, that has to be factored in. So I think right now Shai is the deserving MVP over Jokić because of the games missed. If Shai ends up missing 10 or 11 games and Jokić misses 16 or 17, then we can reignite that conversation. There can be consequences for missing games. If Jokić misses 19 or 20 games, maybe he's only second team instead of first team. fine. But he's still a top 15 player league-wide, whether he misses 15, 16, or 20 games. Another player in danger is Victor Wembanyama, who has missed 14 games at this point. He can only miss 3 or 4 more games before he's ineligible, which would cost him Defensive Player of the Year and First-Team All-NBA designation. Apply the same standards we're applying for Jokić and Luka. Is this guy a top 15 player, even if he misses more than 18 games? Yes. Is he still the best defensive player in the NBA? I think yes. He should still win Defensive Player of the Year. But look, if you see a defensive player you think is more impactful who plays 82 games, and Wembanyama only plays 61 or 62, then vote accordingly, and let Wembanyama finish second or third. But he should still be designated All-NBA. Now on the other side of the spectrum, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has played just 30 games this year. He's missed 21 games already and is out indefinitely. He's probably going to miss 30 to 40 games, maybe the rest of the season. But let's say he comes back with about a month left and ends up missing 40 games total. Even though Giannis is to me the second best player alive when healthy, and he was elite and top 5 when healthy this year, 35 to 40 games missed is simply too much to be designated All-NBA. See what I'm saying? It's an ad hoc, case-by-case basis evaluation that's needed. There shouldn't have to be some rigid 65-game minimum stipulation just because the writers are idiots who don't follow the NBA closely enough to vote intelligently on these awards. Essentially what we have here is a situation where, for LeBron to finally not make one of these teams, which he should have missed 3 or 4 times already over the last 5 seasons, it's now coming at the cost of other elite great players being sacrificed who actually deserve those designations. The 65-game rule exists because writers kept rewarding LeBron for load managing. He'd miss 25 to 30 games and still make All-NBA over guys who played 75 to 80 games and had comparable or better seasons. That's indefensible. But instead of trusting writers to make better decisions or creating guidelines for writers to follow, the NBA just implemented a blanket rule that doesn't account for context. Luka dealing with a calf strain that keeps him out 11 games is not the same as LeBron strategically resting 25 games to preserve himself. Jokić missing games due to various injuries while still producing historic numbers when he plays is not the same as someone coasting through a season. Wembanyama being managed carefully as a 21-year-old 7'4" player is not the same as a veteran load managing. Context matters. Circumstances matter. But the 65-game rule treats all absences the same. It doesn't distinguish between injury, load management, or any other reason for missing games. That's the stupidity of it. It's a one-size-fits-all solution to a problem that required nuance. The real solution should have been educating voters and holding them accountable for ridiculous votes. If you vote LeBron All-NBA when he only played 55 games, and there are guys who played 79 games with similar production, your vote should be publicly scrutinized. Make voters justify their choices. Create transparency. But the NBA went the lazy route and just implemented an arbitrary game threshold. And now we're in a situation where the rule designed to stop undeserving players from making All-NBA is going to potentially keep out players who absolutely deserve it. Luka, leading the league in scoring, but missing 18 games due to injury, shouldn't disqualify him from All-NBA recognition. Jokić, putting up historically great numbers and breaking records, shouldn't be erased because he missed 17 games. The writers who voted LeBron All-NBA when he missed 27 games in 2021, 26 games in 2022, and 27 games in 2023 are the ones who created this problem. LeBron was smart enough to take advantage of their incompetence. Can't blame him for that. But those voters should have been replaced or retrained, not have the entire award system restructured around their failures. So there you have it. LeBron finally misses All-NBA after 21 years, but the 65-game rule that's catching him is also about to screw over Luka, Jokić, and Wembanyama, who actually deserve recognition despite missing games due to real injuries. The NBA fixed the symptom, but not the disease, which was incompetent voting. If you think All-NBA should be evaluated case by case, or if you support the 65-game rule, hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments whether you'd rather have a strict game minimum or trust voters to make better decisions.